Before we can get into this episode of the DevCast, be sure to like, subscribe, and join our community linked down below. Hello everyone and welcome to the DevCast, your weekly Roblox podcast for all Roblox-related content and personal up-close interviews and conversations with some of your favorite Roblox creators. Today we're here with WooleyWool, a creator known for his talents in scripting as well as his contributions to the Event Organizer program. Please welcome WooleyWool! Woo!
Hi guys.
Yeah, all right. I think we were on, I think we were essentially on the topic of, bad Wi-Fi, essentially. And I want to actually ask, Wooly, how is your Wi-Fi? Is it actually good?
It's living. Hasn't died yet.
Oh, well, well, you wouldn't be here if it was terrible, so, well, thank goodness. Yeah, well, my Wi-Fi is terrible, so if we have technical complications, you'll know why, and as well as Unix, but that happened when it was...
your Wi-Fi, remember?
Yeah, it was terrible. We don't talk about that. We don't. Now, my Wi-Fi is absolutely horrendous. I can't. It's just terrible. Like, I can't. I remember when we actually tested it, yeah, and how slow it was. It was actually terrible because, you see, the thing is, my Wi-Fi in this room right now actually consists of extenders that are wireless. My computer isn't directly plugged with the internet. Like, it doesn't have a wire directly threaded into my computer. So, yeah, my Wi-Fi takes a while to essentially get here. But, so as a result, yeah, we have technical complications. So hopefully we don't have any technical complications this episode. And, it does happen. And it did happen with Elven Blocks. But hopefully... Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, things actually run smoothly this episode. Alright. So yeah, let's actually just get into some few questions that I've actually wanted to ask you, Wooly. And that is, what essentially started, you on your journey at scripting? What inspired you to start scripting?
Sure. When I was younger, I was really into playing a lot of games. And seeing a lot of the things and different imaginations that people had coming to life, it got me so interested in actually doing something like that, but with my own stuff. And I remember when I first joined the platform on Roblox, playing natural disasters or murder mystery games, just seeing how you could create your own game on Roblox, that just got me so excited and so interested in learning it. It took me a few years though to actually dive deep into programming, just because at the time when I was interested, I couldn't do it at the time, just because I didn't have the mental capabilities of memorizing and doing a lot of the coding. But as I've learned a lot more programming from tutorials, as well as looking through different APIs and getting help from friends, I've learned to program a lot more, and I'm able to do a lot of the debugging on my own rather than having to ask for help, which is a really good trait to have. So.
Well, that's quite interesting. When did you actually join Roblox? Was that
So I joined Roblox back in 2012. I've been on the platform almost 9 years. So
jeez, that's wild.
Yeah,
you're literally just 1 year after me. That's wild. And then Unix, yeah, you joined 2013, I think.
No, it was 20. I think it was 2012. It was 2012 officially, but yeah. Here it is. I checked the account.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen the evolutions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it must be quite interesting. Learning what did you actually learn to script from that point onwards in 2012, or was there only a certain year or a date where you really sat down and were like, I'm gonna script?
No, what I did though was I used a lot of the free models and tried to create my own games, but they didn't turn out well.
For sure.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well. I remember importing scripts in, and it just didn't work at all because I didn't realize you had to put it in the server script service, or the code actually had to work with the specific item. And I was just sitting there okay, I don't know what I'm really doing, so I'm adding things together. But as the years went on, I was trying to learn a lot of the different methods. I remember they had Roblox University when they had that programmer little tutorial. So I went through the murder mystery one as well as the racing one, and I got used to Roblox, but at the same time I was just I don't
Yeah.
know still, but after a few years of like dabbling with coding, I've been able to learn it a lot more. Like I remember during like the beginning of the pandemic, I was watching through Alvin Blox's Piggy tutorial just to see how like
Oh,
programming
that's
would
wild.
go.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting.
that from there it really started to kick off, and that's how I started to learn programming on my own. So
Oh,
that
that's
was pretty fun.
interesting. So,
Yeah.
you watched Alvin Block's videos in terms of education. Are there any other people that you watched, or is it just Alvin?
It was mostly just Alvin blocks. I did watch a few of the Roblox University ones, but those don't work anymore. The
Uh,
API has.
that's true. There are some there are some education videos by Roblox that are very outdated. And like the stuff
Yep.
that they would ask, like the stuff that they would teach you how to script was like the most basic stuff ever. I remember there was one where they would teach you how to like make things like make lights turn on at night or something like that if you
Yep.
like make the
I
brick turn neon with the lights and everything. And I actually followed the tutorial of that, and it was that easy that I was actually able to do it, and I don't even script. So, but yeah, most of all that stuff's kind of
I
dead,
remember that.
unfortunately.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so proud of
yeah.
myself. I was like, yes, oh, I finally made a
Yeah.
script once in my life. But it's like something as
I
small as making a neat brick go neon. Yeah.
yeah. I started like with like Roblox University. Then I remember I used to do like a course. They had like some course on Roblox, but it just wasn't really interesting to me because like I'd like to learn
Hmm.
something like based on my own like feelings. Like I don't want a course to slap things
Yeah.
at me and
Yeah.
be like, code this, you need to code that. Like I want to do it all on my own. So using like Alvin Blox's tutorials as well as like going above and beyond it, like that's how I like started to be like, oh, know how to
Hmm.
program.
Yeah. Programming is quite just programming in general. It's I think it's really a tough thing, because Alvin, really just said, you got to be disciplined and you just got to sit down and buckle down and do it, and you got and if you're gonna waste time doing it, so be it, In the end, you're gonna learn how to script, and
Yeah,
that's apparently, that's how it all works,
I agree.
eventually. Yeah, it is quite grueling to actually quite learn, and I think that's a huge barrier for a lot of people, and I think to see you overcome that is quite interesting. It must have been very frustrating. I'm sure you had some times where you just wanted to give up. You're like, "This is annoying. Why is the code not working?" I'm sure we've all had those moments as well. All right. I actually wanted to ask you. You actually based on your character, you have what's it, a bombastic crown, and of course those crowns are gifted to developers with games with an X amount of visits. What game in particular has awarded you that crown, or did you get it through a group, or how did you achieve that crown? That's quite interesting because we got one bombastic one as well. All right. Yeah, we're back. Apologies, everyone. I just had a technical bug glitch issue there, as usual. No surprise. It's gonna happen. It happens. Anyway, yeah, we're just gonna continue as usual. Just moving forward, and onwards. I just want to ask, in particular, what is your biggest failure, and what have you learned from it, essentially?
Oh, my biggest failure. I so when I watched the Piggy tutorial, I was like so into like, I should make a Piggy game or I should make a Granny game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one
All
of the
right.
things that a lot of copied
Hmm.
games have in particular is it won't last as long
Yeah.
because it's not something that's unique, which hit me hard because I remember putting so much time into this game,
Hmm.
but at the same time realizing that this game isn't something that's unique. It's something that's really similar to many other games. That was like a reasonable explanation as to why it wasn't going as well as we wanted it to go. So that's why I transformed my own game into that like Piggy game into the murder mystery game that I've been working on because I've seen that murder mystery games haven't been like really the big thing on Roblox. There's like that one like the murder mystery 2 game, but there aren't really any other ones. So it's like to me it's like a perfect time to try to create something new and try to redefine the murder mystery like genre. So that's why I've been developing murder mystery for this past year actually.
Oh, all right. So,
I mean,
I
I've noticed with murder mystery games in particular is that they always die after a certain period of time because people get fed up because it's the same match all the time.
um
I think so many murder mystery games that have died in the past could have
um
been revived with updates of just new maps. I've noticed that when I return to them 3 years later, they're the exact same and nothing's been updated. The only difference
um.
is that the players have been reduced.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Wally, I can hear a bit of echo coming from Unix's microphone coming from your phone. Are you sure there's, I don't know, your mic isn't set up weird? Just gotta be
I
curious because I don't know, I just hear like an
I
echo
can
sound. Apologies for that.
what I can do if you would like if I could just mute myself as you're talking and then unmute when
Oh,
it's my
okay,
time.
that could work. That could work. Yeah.
All right, here
I don't
I'll
know
unmute
whether
and
it's
you.
coming from. Yeah, I don't know if it's coming from you
It's
or
definitely
Unix.
me.
Is it from
I think
you,
it's
I
me.
Unix?
well,
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
it was
hearing
from me.
I'm not hearing
So
any echoes,
why
so
is
it might
it?
be me.
It could be either you. I don't know. Okay.
Here, I'll mute for a second.
That's fine. All right. Unix, are you sure it's not you, or sure there's no random
No,
echoing?
no, no. I saw it
Gosh
going
damn
around
it,
the
the
WooleyWool
technical
thing.
complications. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. All
So
right.
yeah, I
Anyway,
mean, apart from that,
yeah.
I
Apart
think
from that,
that's the only downfall. I think it's the same with bigger games
there
for
we go.
maps.
Yeah, we're on
It's
track
that
again.
set genre where they
Yeah.
always collapse on builds. Because once the scripting's
Yeah.
there, you've got it there forever. So it's one
Yeah.
of them.
Ah,
What do you
this.
want to elaborate?
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm trying to do with my new game. I have added like so many different elements to the game
Mm.
to which like it's still a murder mystery game, but it's not like the typical murder mystery game you would see. Like the murder mystery games I've seen, like you're not like you either play as a predefined character that the developer sets, or it's one that you want to play like you just play as your own character. But like with my own game, I've worked for like a week on creating a character customization system where players are able to create their own characters. So I've been working on that
That's
as well as
unique.
making. Yeah, I've worked on that for a bit, and I've been trying like with the clothing community. I've seen that they've been having like a hard time trying to get their clothes out there. So I've given the opportunity for clothing designers who are like a bit smaller to allow their clothing to be featured within the community, like the character customization system. So I've been working on trying to import all those clothes. Like as of when I closed the application, there were 95 responses. So I'm
Oh.
trying to like feature as many clothes as I can.
That's awesome.
So
You're not going to
95
go short.
responses. Yeah, for clothing.
yeah,
That's
that's
wild.
yeah. And when I've messaged a bunch of clothing designers like, hey, your clothing is going to be featured, just their excitement and like how happy they are with like their clothing being featured, it was just something that I enjoyed having to hear from people. Like just seeing that their clothing is like being featured when it's a lot harder to get it up there. I just it's something that I enjoy
Oh.
helping people with.
Fantastic.
I'm sure that someone somehow connects you to being an event organizer. What inspired you to essentially join the event organizer program?
I wanted to join the event organizer program to teach people programming. I know that a lot of people are wanting to learn programming, but at the same time, it's hard to do it because either you have someone that doesn't teach you the way that you would understand it, or it's just the projects that you're working on isn't something that interests you. So what I've been trying to do for these past months is try to create tutorials for players and like newer developers as well as some veteran developers on creating their own like games. For instance, I've been working on like an egg hunt to allow players to take like some of the eggs that were previously in older egg hunts to create like their own little egg hunt and like learn to code that. I've also
Oh, all
I've been
right.
also
That's
creating like
cool.
a yeah. I've also been creating like a Roblox high school kind of thing. I've been trying to
Oh,
teach like I've been trying to create something where like people can create their own little school game. But that's just
Hmm.
like some of the few things I've been working on. I have other ideas, but I haven't really like thought them through yet. But I
I
hope to get
see.
those running soon.
Hmm.
Hopefully next month.
Mhm.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, that's quite interesting.
That's gonna be cool.
I'm guessing. Yeah. Is it like internal struggle that kind of like relates to you wanting to teach people how to script? I'm assuming you didn't necessarily have too much of a like a straight direction, unlike how people have now. Like
Oh yeah. It was pretty hard when I was trying to first learn programming. Like I thought at first when I was starting, I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I will not be able to code.
yeah,
But
yeah,
after
That
doing like,
sounds the same as me in Blender. It
yeah,
was
oh,
the same story.
I I can never do Blender for some reason. But like with programming, like
yeah.
I thought I could never do it, but here I am. I'm programming and as well as helping a lot of people out, both on like the forum as well as doing events. So that's pretty fun to me.
Hmm. Oh, all right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's quite a cool approach, and just simply, I think education matters a lot. I think, right, I think, I know it's kind of sounds weird, but I think scripters are actually shrinking, because I feel like as Roblox as a platform starts to grow and more, how do I say this? I feel like there's more builders that are coming in at a higher rate than there are scripters. I feel like scripters are actually on the decline, and I think builders and just more easier roles are essentially on like a steep up, just going straight up. Um, and I think and I think education does matter a lot. And I think if we can educate and introduce people to scripting and actually tell them, hey, this can't, this isn't as hard as you think it is. I think you will be able to manage to actually likely increase the population of scripters. I think the population of scripters are on the decrease. Because like people, I think people get demotivated by looking at all these huge Roblox games. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, like scripts were still reasonable, like you could play like a murder mystery game and it kind of felt like you could script it, and the scripts were actually a little bit more simple, very generic, more basic. Now you have like insane data store two things and all that type of stuff, like all this really high tech advanced
Actually,
stuff.
I learned data store too. That was actually, I mean, it was confusing as hell. It didn't make any sense to me until the
Yeah,
very end.
that's true.
And
It
then after I learned it and worked it out, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then a week went past and I forgot about it again.
Yeah,
Where I
exactly.
went again.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
hit and miss.
Yeah, you get
it's
the idea.
it's a bit overwhelming at first just because like with like the so many different like functions and APIs that Roblox offers, it is a bit overwhelming. Like right now, like I there are some things that I don't know. Like I don't know really much about physics related stuff. Like I could probably code up like a
Hmm.
very basic car, but if you told me to like add in drifts, I will explode because I don't know how to do that. It's
Drifts.
overwhelming.
What do you mean,
Yeah,
like
like that.
car drifts?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that kind of stuff. That's a
I
bit
thought.
hard, but at the same time, like once you get used to the APIs, it doesn't become as overwhelming. And if you're going to learn something new, it's
Yeah.
gonna be it's gonna be a bit easier just
Yeah.
because like you know how to read the code, you know what it needs, you'd be able to understand it. So
All right. Um. Okay. Well, I just want to, in terms of let's just say I'm just gonna put everything in this perspective. I'm a person that wants to learn how to script. What advice would you give to someone who wants to actually start scripting and actually, actually learn how to script?
start small. If
Oh,
you start small, or no, actually, if you start
that's
big,
exactly what Elvin said. You're like on the
well,
dot.
that's
You're on the
like
dot.
if you start big, you're going to be like terrified. Like I
Yeah.
know with my own experiences, like I wanted to create this huge like game. I had like so many different ideas, but it's just overwhelming. It's not easy. And like if you're a beginner, there are going to be some vulnerabilities are going to go along with route. So if you just start small and expand what you're doing, that's what I like did with like the Piggy tutorial. Like it didn't even talk about like the currency system. Like I jumped ahead before the tutorial even came out. So
Oh,
I like just starting small and expanding as much as you want and learning different things will help you grow as a programmer. If you
yeah,
start big,
yeah,
it's going to get you wanting to quit early
yeah,
before even getting into the fun stuff.
yeah. Yeah, that's. You know, I can say the same, especially when it comes to building. It's very easy to rush your own build, and then you make something that looks so large but not detailed at all, and you're like, what? What the hell did I just make? And then you just kind of have to like
Yeah,
scrap it and throw it in the bin again. But I
I've
guess that's a
experienced
part of
that with
learning.
building too. I've experienced that with building. It doesn't like I remember I was building like a library for one of the maps,
Oh
and I
God.
didn't realize that the size for like the actual building was
No-
too small for a player to actually go through.
Oh my.
Like you can
What?
see steps, and yeah,
How do you make a
I'm still
library
learning.
too small? Usually I hear the exact opposite. Like, oh, I made it too big. I've never heard of someone having a problem that it's like too small. You know,
I
like
have
that's.
I That's it's the complete opposite of what you would expect.
Oh, that's
But like
hilarious.
yeah, it's something that you wouldn't expect, but after practice, you'll start getting used to it and you'll understand like the ways of Roblox and you'll be able to create your own stuff and create your own games, your own
Yeah.
experiences.
All right. Yeah, we're actually coming towards the end of the podcast, actually. I guess we could just say that that technical complication was a break. So, um, um, do you you know, I'm just on a few last questions that we're going to be ending off this episode with. Um, what developers inspire you? Do you happen to have any developers who you look up to in particular?
I do. I when I first started coding, I looked up to Alvin Blocks a lot. I thought that like when he was teaching it and
Yeah.
just like how much knowledge he's had, as well as like the different debugging skills that he's had as well, it got me like it made me feel a lot more comfortable learning the code. And I felt like this guy was someone I could trust. It's
Yeah.
someone I can look up to for programming when I was just like coding. Now
Yeah.
with like the stuff that I'm doing like with my own game, like I look up to like Boat Bomber. He's a good example.
Oh yeah,
He's
Boat
helped a
Bomber's
lot.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's given out like so many like open sourced models, open
Oh
Yeah,
source
he
models,
yeah.
has.
Oh yeah.
and just like looking through the code that he like worked with and like created, it's just something so like interesting. And it's so like it's something that I wouldn't be able to do like right off the bat. It would take me a lot longer
Yeah.
than what would have taken him. It's just like it's something that I just look up to him, and I look up to Albert Blocks too to this day as well. Just seeing him like get newer
Yeah.
programmers on
Yeah.
board with Roblox, that's just something that I'd like to see. And I do my best as well with like my programming events as well as helping
Hmm.
people on the forum. There's a lot of people like on the forum and sometimes with programming events where they're at the point where they want to quit. They
Yeah.
just if they can't figure out the issue, and
Yeah.
I've helped many people like point out the issue and show them like the way to fix their code, and it's just they got off the point of where they wanted to quit to the point of where they want to create and continue creating their own games,
Hmm.
and I enjoy having people feel like I'm getting back into programming. I'm not afraid anymore of programming. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to continue. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to
Hmm.
create my own experience and game.
Jeez.
Fantastic.
That's some great determination.
Motivated. I've
Yeah.
got a last question before we wrap it up. Do you think you're on the endless treadmill as Alvin Butts? Because he said on that last episode we had with him, he said that when he was doing his tutorials, he was doing it as he was learning. Do you think you're on that endless treadmill as well, where you're just
I am.
continually learning?
I actually have a funny story. When I was creating the egg hunt tutorial, like for the event I wanted to do, there I just had like a few issues with like data. I felt that like this event was just not going to like roll how I wanted it to roll, and I felt that it was just mostly geared towards beginners. where I wanted it to be like geared towards everyone rather than just one set of people. So a friend of mine showed me a way with data of how you could store it all in tables. And from there, like I have completely like I just like went on and I did not like I've moved away from using instances like which are like the number values, the bool values just for saving data, where now I would just use like tables for saving data, inserting different data like objects as well as saving values such as like the player's currency. And I've taken that knowledge into my own game. I've completely revamped like the data that was in my own game. Like the setup with like the murder mystery game was you had like a folder that was attached to your player, and you had like all these like
Oh, I think, yeah,
just, like,
I know what
say
you
like
mean.
items, different like skins that you could use, and like just having that, I felt that wasn't efficient, and I felt that having it all backend based would make it one a lot more secure, as well as protecting it from vulnerabilities. I remember when I was coding, one of the biggest issues with my game when it was first starting was if an exploiter were to join your game, they would know who you are. They would know if you're a murderer, they would know if you're a sheriff, or they would know
Oh
if you're
no.
innocent. And that was something I wanted out of the game right away because I was like, this game is just going to be hackable. This game is going to be like,
That's
this game is
hilarious.
just not going to work. So
So what
I
caused that?
Ah,
What
yeah.
caused that? I'm intrigued now.
like what it was set up was it would insert a string value into your player. It would name it as either murderer, sheriff, or innocent, and the game would loop through and try to look to see like, oh, is the murderer here? No, he's here. All right, is the sheriff here? Oh, nope, he's not there. And like the hacker or like exploiter, they would be able to see that. They would be able to see like if you're there, and they would be able to call you out during the game, which isn't something enjoyable for many people.
No.
Now, now everything is like backend based. Like I will not know who you are. An exploiter will not know who you are. And I've been trying to create like different systems to ensure that this game isn't exploitable.
Mm.
This game is still enjoyable. There may be some things that are exploitable, but it won't affect everyone. It's going to affect
It'll be
only the
local side.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all client sided. If like they were to change something, like a lot of like what I've learned from many of my friends is you want the client to only take care of the visuals. You don't want them to take care of any of the like server sided data. You don't want them to take care of like other players. You just want them to take care of the visuals. So I've come to the point where the player is only able to like if they were to change anything in the code, it would only change the look of like the thing that they're looking at. Now, like if you were to exploit it and try to do something server sided, there's so many checks that go in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like for instance, if you want to get the knife, like the hack, like the exploiter would be able to add in like the item frame and try to spoof it to make it seem like they want the knife.
Mm.
But the server now takes a look like, is this game in progress? Is this person an actual murderer? Is this person
Mm.
even in the game? And it does so many checks to ensure that this is like true. And if it's true, they'll get the knife. If it isn't true, well, they won't get it. So, and if there's ever like a vulnerability to that, I will figure out a way to prevent it. I'll do
Mm.
everything. It takes a lot
I
of
mean,
testing.
have you linked up a message bot or a logging thing so anyone who does attempt to try and grab it, it will then log it and then know that that person.
I haven't gone to that point just yet. I have planned it. I've like when I'm coding, I'm like, I could see where this could go wrong, or like, oh, well, I could see what they can mess with, where I could just get that easily. Like, I'll figure out ways, and just like some things to like remember with exploiters is these are just people that don't really know how to code. They're just following along with like a program. So if
Yeah.
you figure out the issue with like that one exploit of code,
Code. Yeah.
that just got rid of like a
Yeah.
bunch of issues.
Actually, I do know some exploiters, which I can't name obviously, but they do know how to code. I know that they do code their own exploits. So,
Well.
yeah, a bit cheeky. So it is. I think you are right.
It's
I
like
think
flipping a
there's a very
coin.
small minority. It's a minority, or there's a very small minority that do script. But I do know that the other half will use the clients that they can get open source. I don't use, never ever used it in my life.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
never listened to.
Right.
It does get a bit tricky, you know, like in terms of security in general. There's just so much. There's just actually so much that can happen, really, and you just gotta you really gotta take it from all angles, really. And sometimes, you know, your data store has to keep things in check. Like there's just so much. You know, in all different types of areas where you can protect your game, and I don't think a lot of people actually know that. A lot of people just skim past, you know, protection altogether and just make a simple obby game and call it a day, and don't even put any.
Actually,
What?
WooleyWool can back this up, but it's a difficult subject that because
I mean, would you trust Roblox
what I've
security?
learned, okay, sod Roblox security, put that to one side. Protecting your game, I'm going to tell you this now. If someone like a game like Piggy or Adopt Me showed how they protect their game, it becomes exploitable because you don't want to show your backend how it's checking because you can get
100%.
around it. So it's like an endless loop. You can't
100%. And
so
like,
you can't teach it because if you teach it, then you've just told them
see.
how you can exploit that game. It's
right. Giving one of the things that I've had to struggle with like my own game is like, what if there's a speed hacker or there's someone that wants to teleport from one place to one place? That's one of the things I have to figure out how to protect because
Oh, I hate
one
them.
of the things that like originally I wanted to just look at the player's position and just see if there's a huge difference or like a huge change. But an issue that would occur with it was, what if the player had a network issue? And like, if you know those players who have like network issues, they'll just jump from one place to another
Yeah,
place.
just suddenly.
boom, boom.
You know what?
And
I actually was crazy. Like, I had such a stupid idea because you know me, I had like a builder mentality essentially, and I was like, you know what? I was stupid. I was like, you know what? If we can't, if we want to detect people who are going really really fast in the game, how about we just put bricks in all the areas where you're not supposed to be, and when you touch that brick, it bans you. Like I was like stupid ideas like that.
You
Yeah,
did,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did, you did.
yeah,
And
that's
everyone's
something
like,
that you
Dev, it
don't
doesn't work
want.
that way. It's just so, it was
But,
terrible.
but there are ways to check. Like, one thing I like thought of is like, you could check like based on the map's boundaries. If they're outside of those boundaries, then you know they're cheating. That is
Yeah.
something you want to check. You can check with their positions and everything, but that's one way I was thinking of it. But actually coding it, I gotta figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Yeah, I think we've essentially come down to the end of our episode. Is there any last things any last thing that you want to say? Any shout outs? Anything you want to say, or before we end off this episode?
Sure, I have like one thing I wanted to just say for like the newer programmers is just that don't give up so easily. It may be something that is like challenging to you at first, but overcoming that challenge will help you grow as a programmer. When you grow as a programmer,
Yeah.
you'll come across more challenges and you'll be able to overcome those, to which after all of those challenges, you have just finished your own game. You've just created something.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, we just want to thank you for having you on, Wooly. It's been a great time, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
Thank
definitely
you.
been great about your perspective on everything and, your education towards scripters, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that in the future. Thank you everyone who's tuned into the episode of the DevCast. We're going to be seeing you guys all next week. Cheers.